Every man is a specialist. A Maori man from New Zealand told me this once. And I thought, it's not true. Because every man starts off life as a specialist. Yet in the end, he becomes a universalist. As he leaves the place of the material world, if you like, and becomes part of the wider church, if you like. The church, not the church of these buildings and the organisation out there. The church is not an organisation. The church is the people of God or the people of nature who have moved from the material world and now are concerned with the welfare of humanity. That's all it is. And they then become generalists, really, and they lose their speciality, or they learn many specialities and incorporate these into a generality. Okay. Now, I recently purchased a sports car. I wanted to downsize from my previous car, which was a Jaguar S-Type, which is a very inexpensive, high-quality car, a very nice car, that was put down, derided by the press. And we don't know why the press does what it does, but one often thinks sometimes there's money behind the scenes. I recently read that to get a maritime law put in place that benefited the Dutch East India Company in America, one of the in Britain, one of the earliest parliaments passed a law where there were very, very big handouts made to certain politicians. You know what I mean? Anyway, organising big business. This is not what I'm here to talk about, because I want to talk about the very smallest of things. This is no good. Or maybe it is, maybe it's good. Who am I to criticise the will of nature? And the will of nature is a funny thing, yeah? So for some reason I got rid of my Jaguar, and I found that another car, also derided by the press for its problems, turns out to be a very, very fine car indeed, an MGF sports car, okay? And these things, you can buy these cars for less than £1,000, yeah, that's remarkable. Some people pick these cars up in not bad condition for as little as £400, can you believe it? I sold my Jaguar for £250, and I sold it to a scrapyard because I didn't want some young man to get his hands on it, because it must have been involved in a flood or something at some point, and the corrosion underneath was not something that you could really deal with economically. And so it was better to use its good engine, its good gearbox, its good seats, its good everything, to go into some other better body that needed these things. And so recycling and looking after our national heritage is very important, and I feel that it's something that could be a future for a lot of young people in the world today who are looking for some way out of the slave wage system that we have in not just this country, and everywhere you look now. And one of the ways out of this system is to go into business for oneself. Now, one of the things that this car suffers from, the MGF, together with other British Leyland models, I think the Metro is one of them, it has what's called a Hydragas suspension. It looks like this, and you'll see it's a remarkable suspension. It evolved out of the Mini, I think. The Mini had its first iteration, which is not Hydragas, was hydroelastic, and this is basically the spring part of it is rubber. And so this rubber, of course, over time it becomes hard, it loses its springiness, and Minis tend to be a bit harder than the suspension. And it found its way into the Austin 1800, and I think the Austin 1800 might have been Hydragas. Yeah, you see, there's an Austin 1800 there. It's probably Hydragas. Now, I bought one of these cars in the 1980s, I think, or 1990s, long time ago, and a second-hand one, and it was like a rock on the ground. I couldn't understand this. Suspension was supposed to be so great, but in my mind it wasn't. But because we didn't have the internet in those days, we didn't know that the suspension could be any different, because now the internet, we can do a few searches and find out from other people's experience. So this is why I'm making this video, because the Hydragas suspension in the MGF, over time, the air, no, it's not air, it's hydrogen, hydrogen, maybe, it's a gas anyway, hydrogen gas, inside the sphere, the gas inside the sphere leaks out, and it loses its pressure, and the car then is lowered, and there's not any springing left, or not much springing left, and so it can be a very hard ride. And I remember this being the case with this Austin 1800, and I got this one. The first thing I noticed when I got in was this is a pretty hard ride in this MGF, but this is a sports car, and so I got used to it actually, and yeah, I got to kind of like the ride, except I avoided the potholes. I went on the internet, I found out that there's this couple who specialise, just a couple, they travel around, they're mobile mechanics, and they've developed a system, there you go, they've developed a system, you can get the details from there, where they fix this problem. Now, you cannot buy new spheres for these cars because, well, if you could, the gas would have leaked out of them too. And so nobody makes them anymore. And so there's a lot of these cars, a lot of cars on the road, old cars, they're over 20 years old, that have this system and they haven't got gas in them. So, and there's no facility to actually regas them. So what this small business does is it takes your cylinders off your car, takes them away with them as part of the deal, and then it fits valves to them by welding, testing, reconditions these spheres so that they're like new. And then it offers those for a fixed price, so you know it's going to cost you in advance, for them to come, take yours off, put the new ones on, and leave you with a car with nice new suspension. Okay. Now, it sounds good, but does it work? Does it make any difference? Because this is the thing, is you don't know. You're in your car, you think, well, the suspension's still working, you can still see it going up and down. It's a bit low, but does this make any difference? Yeah. So I decided to have this done to the car, seeing as one thing is to support this couple doing this great work, yeah, and the other to produce a video that would say, okay, I had this done to my car. Is it better? Is it not better? Okay, it's coming later. That, but I just want to talk about the wonderful idea this brings to mind of somebody who is specialist in one specific thing, to do with looking after the heritage, the motoring heritage of this country, and providing that in a way that those people who have these cars can actually have the job done, knowing that it's going to be done properly, it's going to be fixed, it's going to be good for some years, yeah. We hope 10 years. We hope. Okay. It remains to be seen. Okay. And it's a wonderful thing. It's a thing that could be done in other areas. Yeah. Perhaps people could specialise in turning modern minis into electric cars. Yeah. So that they have everything they need, the motor, this, that, the other, some specially special subframe designed just to take your subframe off, and it fits this new subframe on, take your subframe away, and leave you with an electric Mini, if that's what you want. You know, it's an idea, yeah? And then these people could travel all around the country doing this, yeah? Spreading the good word. The new church, if you like, is a couple church, yeah? And it's working, yeah? It's working together. That's the idea. And a man and his lady don't need to be separated. They need to be working together. The couple that works together stays together. You'll notice that in business, many men who have businesses and they have a secretary, they get divorced from their wife and marry their secretary. It is very, very common because it's not possible to work together without coming together, yeah? And it's necessary for the male and the female aspects of life work together. They work together. They share every moment of their life together. Otherwise some other man's going to come along. It's as simple as that. It's not possible to have ladies go out to work for other men. For other men to say, do this, do that, do this. Get into bed. No. We can't have this. And so these people are setting a very, very good example. So if you've got an MGF or some car like this with Hydragas suspension, give this a go, because my experience is, yay, the ride is good. The ride is good. It's fixed. It's got its original ride back. I took it for one ride. Before they came, I went for a ride down a particular stretch of road, and I noticed, you know, how hard is it and what's happening. And then after they went, I took the car the same trip. Okay, now I see the difference, right? And it's a subtle difference, you know, because generally it's only when the car hits a bump, a hole in the road, that you actually need the suspension. But otherwise, it's working all right, you know, even without so much gas in it. But give it a good full fill of gas, and it's doing its job. And so I highly recommend this particular job on your MGF if you have one, or on your Metro or Austin or whatever it is that you that needs a Hydragas thing doing. So there you go, setting the pattern for future humanity. The saltedco.uk. I cannot say the word, but if you look at their website, they've got all the details on the website there. Thanks for watching.